Welcome back to another episode of TaylorMade Rides, and we're starting a new thing. Every Friday we do something called the Forgotten Classics. And to start us off with vehicle number one, we have the AMC Hornet. Now, this machine from 1970 is nicknamed the Machine, and it is quite the unique vehicle, and it is why it made number one on this list. Now, there's a couple things that are pretty cool with this car. It was designed to combat Ford, Chrysler, Chevrolet back in the day. And this thing had a ton of power. And again, it was made to rival those cars. Starting out, it had a 4-speed manual transmission, which was pretty standard at the time. But it also made 340 horsepower out of an AMC-powered 390 cubic inch V8. It made a whopping 430 pound-feet of torque. And if you know anything about racing, torque wins races, horsepower does not. It's about that lineup. Now, it was built to race against the GTO Judge, the Ford Mustang back in the day, the Chevrolet Camaro, what else? We got the Superbird, Roadrunner, maybe not Superbird, but the Roadrunner for sure. All those classic timeless machines. And that's kind of why this one was at our top of our list for Forgotten Fridays. It was pretty cool. Now, the machine wasn't subtle. It had a hood scoop, of course, bold popping graphics, and an aggressive stance. It weighed in at 360 pounds, 3,600 pounds, but it balanced out quite well, depending on the driver. Now, it was basic, but functional, as everyone would want in a race car. You're not buying this for luxury. If you wanted luxury, you'd buy a Lincoln.
The redesigned 1975 Lincoln Continental Town Coupe. We asked 50 owners of that other luxury car what they thought of it.
Extremely luxurious.
We asked...
Now, this thing was pretty rare. They only sold about 2,300 of these, and you could argue that was because AMC didn't quite have the standpoint and dealership status that Ford, Chevy, Mopar had back in the day. AMC was still a smaller company, if you will. Take that as you will. Now, it was priced cheaper than most of their rivals, but AMC lacked the marketing, as I said before, that the dealer network had. It didn't quite have that stance. Production did end only after 1 year. So if you see one of these cars in a car show or driving down the road, just know that it is pretty rare, and take photos for sure. Now, there's a couple things here that makes it unique, and you just always think about cool cars with all the others, and AMC just in the background making commuter cars. You think of the Rambler sedans, you think of the Hornets, or the little gremlins, if you will, quite literally. But they were tired of that. And excuse the air compressor, but they didn't want to be left behind. In 1970, they teamed up with Hearst Performance to create something loud, something brash, and something that said, yeah, we're the underdog, and we want to keep up with you. Now, even the name sounds tough to me, The Machine.
Way was, I am the machine.
That's pretty cool, even by today's standards. Now, when it first rolled off the line, the AMC didn't whisper for attention at all. In fact, it screamed it. The standard version came painted with a wild, patriotic red, white, and blue. The bold stripes that were running across the hood and the body. Hell, today, that would flourish in our car market. I think that would be fantastic. You got an even massive, functional hood scoop. You see cars today, and they're all for show. But back then, they were not messing around. You had a tachometer mounted right on top to see your RPMs, so the driver could keep an eye on the road and on the revs. That was when the driver and the car really won. AMC said by this, yeah, we're proud and we're not afraid to stand out. Now, The AMC engine in there was pretty neat. Like I said before, it was a 390 cubic inch. You saw that by Ford back in the day with their FEs, but AMC had one as well that made it 340 horsepower and 430 cubic inches of torque. Pound-feet of torque. It's been a day. Now, that's pretty cool. Even by today's standards, that's fantastic. So how fast was this vehicle? Its independent test back in the day had the Rebel booked out at 6.8 seconds in the quarter mile. Respectable for sure. You get cars nowadays that are a lot faster, but 6.8 back then in 1970, that's a lot. Now, that was just under 100 miles an hour. And again, a factory car you could buy off the showroom floor. It put it right in line with the Pontiac GTO Judge, the Chevelle 396, and it was an absolute top dog in the muscle car world. It was a contender for sure. It was awesome. It ran right up there. Now, why it was a contender? The AMC budget, if you will, didn't compare with Ford, Plymouth, all those Dodge back in the day. They just quite didn't have the marketing standards that they did. So they were a little bit of a mom and pop, not really, but mom and pop standpoint from there. They built a car that could handle, compete, and race just like the big three. Now, those brands are pumping out ads, sponsored races, and all over billboards.
Mustang Mach 1.
AMC, not so much. But the numbers didn't lie. The Rebel machine could stand toe-to-toe with all of those top dogs. And it was pretty neat. Now, its sales were relatively low. You know, they only sold about 2,300 of those. So again, they're a rare car to see, and I have in fact never seen one, but it is on my list, and I hope I do one day. They struggled, and you could argue that could be in fact of why AMC shut its doors. Maybe not this vehicle, but their whole standpoint on advertising. Okay. Now, why it was forgotten? Again, Forgotten Fridays. It had all the ingredients to be a legend. Power, style, attitude, but AMC just didn't have the muscle or the pun intended, or no pun intended, to compete with the big three. After 1970, AMC shifted focus on the Javelin and AMX and had a stronger, which had a stronger racing image and a longer production run. You can buy both of those vehicles and many versions of those still today off of Facebook, Craigslist, all those websites online, and they're easier to find. The Rebel machine unfortunately faded overnight. It became a one-year wonder, one-hit wonder, if you will, and a loud, powerful car that came, competed, showed out, and then disappeared. But it still makes to a wildly wicked cool factor. So I would urge you to go out and next time you're at a show, ask someone with an AMC if they've ever had one, heard of one, or seen one of these cars. And if there's a vehicle out there that you like to see, and I'm not talking about the Chevy Chevelle, the Ford Mustang, the Camaro, I want to see something that stands out to you that may be forgotten that we can add to a next week's Friday. Comment below, like and subscribe, and I hope you liked this video. We'll see you next time.